It's the Rip City Wrap-Up, brought to you by Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe in nice. Here are your hosts, Tyree Smith, Danny Marang, and Joe Simons.
Deni Avdija had 31 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, and your Blazers have won 3 straight, and most importantly, sit just 2 games out of the 10 seed. Hello, welcome into the Rip City Wrap-Up. Dan Marang, Joe Simons, how are you feeling out there? Use the hashtag RC Wrap-Up. Let us know. We want to see your thoughts on that Blazers victory. Danny, before we talk about Deni a lot, I think it might just be a good place to start of how weird that game actually was.
Yeah, no, the Portland Trailblazers come out to start that game, and they don't miss after struggling offensively for really a handful of games and just not really finding anything going. They start the game off just lights out, particularly from 3, and with that, they build a big lead, and Chauncey Billups hit on it in the post game. I asked the first question out of the press conference was, Chauncey, what was the thing that you liked best about this game? And he said, I loved that we came out and we hit first because they were down in their previous matchups 18-6 and 18-7 right out of the gate. And I think that proved huge because, boy howdy, did they go cold.
Yeah, they both went cold.
Oh, I mean, it was brutal. The Trailblazers come out in the second half, 4 of 4 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3.
Get out to 21 points.
They are just, they can't
This is a
miss.
laugher. Let's go.
There was one point in time early in the third quarter where the Blazers and Grizzlies, the Blazers had hit one more shot than the Grizzlies all game. They had an 18-point lead because they had hit 12 more threes. And, I mean, they were just raining in. It wasn't that the looks changed. They just stopped hitting them.
Yeah, they hit 14 threes in the first half, which is the most threes they've hit in a half this season. And you think, well, even if they get somewhere near this in the second half, they're going to eclipse.
Be a laugher.
Absolutely.
Well, they were 17 of 31 or 32 at one point in time. And they finished 18 of 45. So it means they went, 1 of 14, 1 of 15 down the stretch?
That, Memphis is able to grind it down to like a 7-point game. And the Grizz almost didn't score in that fourth quarter. They end up with 10 points in the fourth quarter, Danny. But 2 of those field goals were when the white flag was waved with 90 seconds left. Like Memphis literally scored 5 points in the first 10 minutes of the fourth quarter.
29 combined points between the Blazers and the Grizzlies in the fourth quarter. And I think it was about 7 minutes into the quarter, I tweeted out something along the lines of, if you told me that neither team had actually scored this quarter, I would believe you. Because it got chippy, it got nasty, it got ugly. There were bad misses, there were bad turnovers, there were technical fouls, there were transition calls. Deni Avdija got slapped so hard, I heard it in press row, and we all just kind of looked around like, did we all just hear that?
Is that the one
noise?
where like 3 Blazers were strewn on the floor?
Ant was down,
yes,
Deni was down, I think 2 was, or Chris was down in the other corner.
Yes.
But I mean, you could hear a like skin smack. There's a sound of a ball and there's a sound of skin, and it was, you could hear Deni get slapped, and it was like, all right, I guess.
So I'm going to give myself the hacksaw Jim Duggan here real quick because I tweeted out about a week ago, and I'm not splitting the atom here, but Deni Avdija is the Blazers' next All-Star. I think he is the one primed to make that leap, and we certainly saw that tonight. His stat line is ridiculous, and Tom Haberstroh tweeted all kinds of incredible stats about how Deni's done over the last 5 games, the company he's keeping right now. But 31, 16, and 8, and 25 of those were in the first half. It felt like he was going to get to 40 easily. Memphis clamped down. The shots didn't go down as quickly.
He had a couple rim. I mean, him and Ant tonight had
yes.
so many shots rim out in the second half. It was kind of bizarre. It felt like for both those guys that the more difficult the shot, the more likely it was to go in because they got some incredible looks down the stretch. Deni got free down the lane and smoked a bunny. I think it was Wop or Klingon.
Wop got him,
Yeah, cleaned it up. And Deni kind of looked back like, thank you for that. My bad. Left that one hanging. But otherwise, for the second time in a month and the second time in his career, Deni Avdija had a game of 30-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and 5-plus assists. He did it for his first game a little bit more than a week ago, 10 days ago against the Golden State Warriors, where he went absolutely bonkers. And, I mean, Deni has just been, flat out, he's been the Blazers' best player this year. Which is actually kind of crazy when you think about the fact of his first month. But, I mean, you
Who is this guy? What are we doing here? Why are we trading a pro like Malcolm Brogdon for this? We could have gotten Bub Carrington, and now it's like, We got this guy for Malcolm Brogdon and Bub Carrington. He is the heartbeat of this team. He's not just the best player. He is the soul of the franchise right now. Like everything that the Blazers want to have their team be, Deni Avdija embodies. And I want to get this out now before I forget it. Deni's ability to grift, to stop a momentum opportunity for the opposition, is one of his greatest assets.
Well,
there were a couple opportunities.
It's a huge thing if you'd
Yes.
It's not just getting the line and making and taking free throws. One thing that goes undersaid about getting to the free throw line is quite simply that off free throws, you get to settle down.
Yeah.
You can stop the momentum of a game, good, bad, or otherwise, and it allows you to get set. You've got, more often than not, you're going to take one of your big men off the block unless you're really trying to hit the offensive glass for whatever reason in different scenarios. But you're going to drop that big back, and he's going to be back there waiting. You're going to set up your wall. The opponent, if you make your free throws, which is also a key element of this, they've got to inbound, and now your defense is walling off. And if you can do that consistently, you can stop a team like Memphis that wants to play faster, but particularly without John Morant, who I have to mention has not played in Portland in 3 years, and it's ridiculous.
You're very upset about this.
It's unfortunate because he was injured tonight, but it's just a very stupid thing that seems to happen in Portland quite regularly. But without John having his breakneck speed and pace and game-breaking ability, it forces Memphis to have to execute more in the half court. Now, they're a very good half court offense, and I talked to Chauncey Billups about this pregame. Justin, I'm forgetting his last name, writes for CBS Sports, wrote an incredible article 2 weeks, 10 days ago about the Memphis Grizzlies offense and how the things they borrowed from international basketball, college basketball, being more egalitarian and being less jaw reliant. And the big part about that is Jaw's availability, but and them being so reliant, as great as he is, availability is the best ability, Joe. And as great as he is, whether it's injuries or his own indiscretions, he has not been on the floor nearly as much as he should be over the last 3 years.
They have to sustain the ability to win without him if they're going to be a long-term viable franchise.
And with that, they've gone to this more ball movement, player movement, egalitarian system that is very difficult to cover. And early on, even though the Grizzlies were struggling, you saw those back cut plays where they were just wide open. You could see the Blazers going, we kind of bungled that switch, didn't we? And it's because even though everything in the NBA runs the same stuff, the Grizzlies put their own spice. It's a little Memphis barbecue, if you will, on their playbook and how they go about things.
Now, is that a dry rub or is that wet?
Memphis is a little bit of both.
Okay.
They're a little bit of both.
Whatever your pleasure is.
It's they kind of go in between. I think depending on where you go, I think they would probably lean more towards the dry rub, but there's some saucy spots in Memphis.
Scottie Pippen Jr. was pretty saucy tonight.
The fact that he is an NBA player is incredible, considering his path to the league and the G League and the 10 days and stuff like that. You're going to hear me say something.
Now, no relation to Scottie Pippen, right? No, I'm kidding.
Definitely related. Definitely related.
Yeah.
There's something I'm going to say here, and I don't say this heavily, however you want to say it.
Okay.
The Lakers are really good at finding these guys.
And now, what does the Lakers mean? Does that mean the Rob Lowe lookalike? Or?
No, it's their scouting staff.
Okay.
And honestly, it's the youngest of the Buss family. He's, I believe, their scouting director. And they are incredible. Jay Huff, who's another player for the Memphis Grizzlies, is another guy that the Lakers found. And
that was the tall, athletic, balding man you saw.
Austin Reeves was an undrafted guy. They just seemingly find these. Alex Caruso is a guy that they brought in from OKC, and he had his first real come up with them. And they do really good with these reclamation or off the scrap heap guys that go from like more than off the scrap heap to like good functional NBA. Like Scottie Pippen Jr. is not just a end of bench guy. He's a legitimate backup point guard.
Well, this wasn't a guy just jacking up threes. In fact, he didn't make a three tonight.
He got to the rim.
He got to the rim and was very creative, did it in a bunch of ways, got himself to the free throw line, also had 4 assists and 6 rebounds. Like, that's the thing about Memphis that still impressed me with this win for Portland tonight, is even without John Morant, there is such depth on this team, Danny. From Desmond Bane to Triple J to Jalen Wells.
Oh, they have an argument for being the deepest team in the NBA.
Right there with OKC.
Yeah,
so, even though Ja is gone,
or
the Blazers...
No Gigi Jackson.
Correct.
They have...
It's a quality win tonight for Portland. It's a quality win. It's a quality win to put it away the way they did.
First win over a team over 510 tries for the Blazers.
Yeah.
They've beaten and taken care of business as it pertains to the dregs of the NBA or the teams that are just right behind them.
And you had those close calls against Detroit, against New York, against Cleveland, but to finally get over the hump and to have it there was never a point where, like, there was some kind of scary times, but it never got below 7 in the second half. It
was an
never got
8-point
to
game,
a scary moment.
And it was getting chippy. You could see.
Right. There was one or two threes away from it being a game.
Well, Jaren Jackson Jr. was campaigning for a technical all night. Duop Reith was getting under his skin, and I'm like, Wop? Like, Wop's got a little bit of nastiness to him. He may or may not have headbutted a guy during the Olympics qualifying tournament. Wop's got some stuff to him. He's a choir bike, great guy, just a quiet, humble dude. But he has some stuff to him that I like. And you could see Jaren getting just so frustrated. There was a hard foul by Jay Huff late on Shaedon Sharpe, and Jay Huff went over to afterwards, be like, "Hey man, my bad, hard foul." And Shaedon just looked at me, and I went, "Oh, good for you, Shaedon.
Saucy.
Let's breed some hatred. Yeah. I'm about this life. That final 6-7 minutes, I was like, all right, let's gonna see who takes advantage of this, because this game's getting chippy. It's an 8-point game, and 8 points in the NBA is nothing. That can be gone like that. And the Grizzlies couldn't hit a 3 to save their lives. They were 8 of 30. That's the story of this game.
Absolutely.
Because if the
30-point difference.
If the Grizzlies hit a normal amount of threes, 8 of 30 is 26.7%. And it wasn't like they were just chucking. Well, they did chuck a couple at the end.
A little bit.
But they had open look after open look after open. I mean, Desmond Bane, the 2 threes that he hit were difficult. Like, there was 2 or 3, we're in press row. Everybody's like, he missed that. But he hit one, kind of fading away in the corner, and he had one later in the shot clock. But outside of that, man, you just go up and down the list. I mean, it's like 0 for 2 for Luke Kennard, who's one of the best shooters out there. Scottie Pippen's 0 for 3, 0 for 2 for Vince Williams Jr. Like, Jay Huff, who's out there basically to take and make threes, is 1 of 3. And 8 of 30 is a brutal number that is amplified by the Blazers going 18 of 46 and nearly 40% from 3.
For Portland to be up 21 in the second half and have sort of this small monkey on their back with not having beat an opponent with an over 500 record in quite a long time, to lose this one, especially with Dallas giving away a game, it doesn't do it. Like, mathematically, that wouldn't have done it for the postseason push, but it would have been the air being let out of the balloon.
If Dallas had won and Portland had lost this, it's basically done.
Right.
But you had to go the other way, and now it's, 2.5 games. So
it is, right. So Portland is 2 back of Dallas and Phoenix right now, and they are virtually tied for the 10-11 spot. And Portland does own the tiebreak with Phoenix. They don't own it with Dallas. So Portland has to go ahead of Dallas. Do you imagine the Blazers knocking out this Suns team? Like, that would be unbelievable.
I mean, the Houston Rockets would love it because it's going to improve their draft odds.
It's been such a wild NBA season. I love it so much. I'm having a great time, Marang.
I mean,
this is so fun.
We were talking about this before the show. The chance that the Blazers make the play-in is viable now. It really is.
They were saying on the television broadcast 12% before this win.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. The math isn't mathing.
Sure.
Going into the game, especially when I'm watching the Dallas game, and I'm like, oh, Dallas is going to win this. For those that don't know, the Dallas Mavericks invented a way to choke a game away tonight.
Against Indy.
Against the Indiana Pacers, who were missing basically everyone. But there is an opportunity for Dallas to close the game up 5 with 20 seconds to go. The Pacers get 2 free throws. They get a steal after the inbounds pass, bounce it around, knock down a 3, and all of a sudden, it's a ball game, ladies and gentlemen, with 14 seconds to go.
Can we get the Blazer box up, Eric? We got the standings here. We want to show the people. So this is where we are right now. Portland 31 and 39. They are 2 games back of Phoenix, 2 games back of Dallas. Sacramento still kind of up there lingering. Portland would have the tie break with them. So there's permutations. There's combinations now, Marang, where this could possibly happen. And we said going into tonight, hey, if Portland can get one of these next 4 games, maybe.
Maybe. In the reality is they needed 2.
Sure. But you got one out of the way.
You got one. Here's what's interesting. Memphis wanted this game. This wasn't Ja resting. Ja was injured with a hamstring.
They were trying.
Memphis was trying because they're trying to get home court advantage. Like, you look, I mean, if you want to pull the standings back up, just scroll up to the west outside of OKC.
Let's do it.
I mean, it is so tight. 2 games separates 2 through 5. I mean, had the Grizzlies won tonight, they're a game back of Houston.
They want that 2 seed.
Look.
then you can play one of those play-in teams.
Well, here's the thing. The Clippers won tonight, got a big win. They knocked the Minnesota Timberwolves mathematically down to 8. And so now you have the Warriors, Clippers, and Timberwolves, 3 teams all fighting for that 6th seed. Meanwhile, the Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, and Grizzlies are all fighting for that 2 seed to guarantee home court until the Western Conference Finals. And so you've got these batches of teams together, and stuff matters. It just does, and it's kind of insane to think about. When the Blazers won their 30th game the other night, that's quite an achievement when you're talking about a team that's projected to win 21.5 games. We start rolling this thing forward. In order for the Blazers to make the play-in, they likely have to win 39 games in the season. And then you kind of take a step back and you go, wait, 39 games? You're telling me that this team could possibly make a play-in and be 2 games under 500?
39 and 43.
17.5 or 18 games above their
That would
win
be
projections.
insane for that accomplishment. I think we've already gotten to a point where the narrative around this team going into the offseason is going to be one of great positivity and excitement.
Regardless of what happens over the final, 13 games.
If they finish with no more wins.
No, they could lose the rest of the season. It wouldn't feel good, but
my God, we got Deni. We got 2.
Yeah.
We got Donovan, who we'll talk about a little bit later on the show. He was interesting tonight. You have all these young guys who are building up these moments and really relishing this opportunity, and they're playing meaningful basketball. And I know that there's still a section of Rip City out there, and I'm not sure how big it is, but I know it exists because I see you on the social medias, that is, I won't say upset about what is happening, but there's an attitude of, what is this for? Because we're not going to win a title, we're not a serious contender, and I have said for many weeks on this show now that not all experiences and development is created equal.
No.
I think for Deni Avdija to have this game against a sure playoff team in the Western Conference, even without Ja Morant, means a lot more than it would if it was against a team not trying for the postseason, or if Portland wasn't making some sort of late push.
They're not stupid.
It's different.
They know. They know that these games matter right now because the play-in is still viable. And just as an aside, Deni Avdija over the last 10 games is averaging 35 minutes a game. He's scoring 22 points, grabbing 10.4 rebounds and 5.4 assists on 50, 48, 83 shooting.
That's pretty good.
Those are insane numbers. He's averaging 22, 10, and 5. Joe, look, you said it could be Portland's next All-Star. If he averages that and they're a playoff team next year, that is an All-Star.
And this sort of run leads into it, right? Even if Portland doesn't make the play.
I'm not putting the cart before the horse here. I'm talking
No.
about if he ends up being, because my thought process with him has always been, I think he's an 18-8-5, 18-8-6 guy. That's the best version of him. But if there's more, and the big part of this is his 3-point shooting,
right?
That's now I don't expect him to shoot 48%, but when he got traded here, the biggest complaint I heard from Blazers fans well, it's another guy that can't shoot. And I had watched Deni Avdija's career pretty closely. He was a guy that I liked coming out of the draft. And I was like, look, I know there's some flukiness to his 3-point shooting because his increase last year was based on makes from the corner. This year, he has surpassed his above-the-break self-created shots by 40 already while shooting more effectively. So increased volume, increased difficulty, and increased efficiency. Those are usually indicators of somebody figuring it out.
And our guy's 25. He's still a youngin'.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. So it sounds like you love Deni Avdija.
I do.
Yeah? Is it a whole lot of love?
Got a whole lot of love.
Because right now it is the Whole Lot of Love event happening at Dick Hanna Subaru. It's the whole month, Danny. Right now, get a special 2.9% APR for 72 months on a new Subaru Outback Plus. Every new Subaru comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty.
Do love a good life.
It's the perfect time to check out the new Subaru at Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe in nice. It's time for a deep dive into a shallow topic. That's right. It's Trenbia. Let's pull up the Blazer box. What do we have with the Blazer box? Oh, it's our old friend, Tom Haberstroh. That looks like a scratch piece of paper, but what Tom is indicating there.
Fantastic handwriting, though. Good penmanship.
Very good.
Shout out the all caps gang.
Notice the all caps.
I write in all caps.
You do.
Give you the 15-second elevator pitch here. My teachers hated my handwriting so bad that they told me that, again, this is before we were typing out every single paper. We were still handwriting because we're old. They said that they would not accept a paper written from me again until I either changed my handwriting or typed them all out.
Was that an English teacher?
No, all of my teachers.
They all came together and said, we have to do something about this Marang kid.
It was hieroglyphics. Like, only I could read it.
Sanskrit?
Oh, yeah. It was bad.
Okay.
But so me being me, I was like, fine, I'll write in all caps, and I'll write it very bubbly and round, and now I have quite nice penmanship.
Beautiful penmanship?
Yeah, it's a lot like probably a 16-year-old's.
Sure.
But it is what it is.
Tom Haberstroh tweeted this. 21 stars that were DMP tonight, including
nasty work.
Ja Morant at the bottom of the list.
At least his was real. What OKC did tonight was disgusting. Disgusting. For those that don't know, the Oklahoma City Thunder played the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder own the Philadelphia 76ers pick, top 6 protected. So what would happen if the Thunder lost?
Naughty.
I mean, Philly won, which would push them further up in the lottery and give the Thunder a better chance at a lottery pick. If you saw the Thunder's injury report, it was this long.
So how do we legislate this out of basketball? What do we do here?
Well, owners are not going to do anything because the commissioner works for the owners.
Okay.
But the pushback here is this is bad for the sport. And I've hammered this over the last couple nights as they played the Wizards and Raptors, as they used some pretty nasty stuff of trying to avoid getting fined $100,000. So clearly, monetary fines do incentivize them to make players play. So maybe make it heftier or severely distorted draft odds or punishments. The way around this, I can't remember if we mentioned this on the show. I know I mentioned it on the radio yesterday. Keith, who does the Grit and Grind podcast for the Memphis Grizzlies, had this 2 or 3 years ago where I think the way to solve tanking in general, it doesn't solve it, but it does probably the best job I've heard for it. So lottery odds stay the same, but for every team out there, every time you beat a team with a better record than you, you get 1 lottery point. So what does that do? It incentivizes winning, because when you get done to the end of the season, not only does it sort by worst record, well, okay, that's fine, so things would be as they sit now, but now you add the lottery points. Well, if you do that, that would put the Portland Trailblazers number 1 in the draft lottery right now, because they have beaten more teams above them in the standings, despite being bad. And this again, this is not because it helps the Trailblazers.
Are you trying to thread a needle?
You can't, because you can't lose early and then win late, because now you're going to change where you are. It encourages winning the entire season. And what's interesting about this is it stops teams from stripping their rosters down to the brass tacks. Because what you would want to do then is surround your team with at least buoyable veteran talent. Like, you can't do what the Wizards did to start the season, because they looked at it and went, oh, we can't be this bad. We have to make some moves for some veterans and take on some bigger contracts. Insert Chris Middleton. Insert Marcus Smart. Add trading for Malcolm Brogdon. Like, they were kind of doing that in a sense, but they're like, we're going to be egregious. You can't be egregious now, because if you just lose, the losing itself is not the most important thing. It is the combination of being successfully bad. Basically, it encourages winning every night. And so that you had what is touted as the great suck-off tonight between Washington and Utah. Somebody had to win. Nobody wanted to, but somebody had to win. And
man, get this guy a new haircut. He is flying tonight. This is great stuff out of you. I'm not sure I followed anything you just described. I do like the concept that you can do.
Let's put it this way,
please.
So let's say in the Wizards and Raptors game, the Blazers are ahead of both the Raptors and the Wizards in the standings.
Yes,
that would encourage them to win, because if they win, it adds that lottery point. And if you get that lottery point and everybody's sorted out, and only thing you have are quote unquote points. Let's say each loss or each win is a point during the regular season. So you have 15 points, but you're 15 and 67?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're 15 and 67. Well, you only have 15 points. But what if you were 25 and whatever? Now you have 10 more points total, but also let's say 5 of those wins are against teams above you in the standings. or in their case, 10.
So I get more ping pong balls.
So
That's what a lottery point is?
So you get a point on top of that. So it's sorted by...
Okay.
So it encourages
I'm more with you.
It encourages Utah and Washington to not do what they did tonight, which was, going into the night, I called it the most important, least important game of all time.
I think that is a really interesting concept, and I do think tanking is
Urge on the league.
It is.
And look,
but
I'm not saying that because the Blazers aren't doing it this time. Blah blah blah.
But this isn't just
it's not
tanking.
good.
This isn't just tanking. This is like stars saving it for the playoffs, and I get it.
No. What OKC did tonight
OKC,
was
sure.
tight. Look, if you want to rest one guy,
Yes.
then get rid of dynamic ticket pricing.
That is the issue that we're trying to get at.
You had people spending $400. Look, sorry, Blazers, I'm not throwing you under the bus here, but I am. You had people spending $400 to come watch the Lakers when Luka Doncic came to the Lakers.
Well, think about what's going to happen at the end of the season if the Lakers, because the last game of the season is the Lakers
it's going to matter
to Portland.
It's going to matter. Seeding wise, it's going to matter.
I mean, it could, but it also couldn't.
It could.
There
is
be a situation where it doesn't matter, and then are Luka and LeBron actually going to play? Or are we going to have these guys want to rest?
Well,
Luka, who's been dinged up, and LeBron, who's 58 years old.
It's certainly a possibility, but the likelihood with the way teams are and the way the schedule is, and the other thing is all of these games are tipping off at roughly the same time, so they're not going to know kind of going.
But I guess the point is the dynamic ticket pricing is what I want to see, because it really is.
I mean, are teams going to hand out refunds if a guy doesn't go?
It's a very difficult spot to be in.
And look, I get it for teams. Look, I get dynamic ticket pricing. Honestly, it makes sense.
Of course.
Like if you have a big matchup coming to town, I want everybody to be able to go see games, but not everybody wants to go see the New Orleans Pelicans, and I understand that. And for a family just trying to go to a game,
like Kobe's last game in Portland, that ticket's going to be more, and it should be more. That's how this stuff works: supply and demand, all that good stuff. However,
there needs to be another lever.
There's got to be something else, Dan, a safety net to protect the people.
The lottery points kind of protects against that, because you aren't going to have teams sitting guys, because that starts mattering as far as impact and placing.
It's an interesting concept.
Something needs to be done. Fix, but it's the best fix I've heard.
Something needs to be done. I want to talk about our boy Black Lobster, because he had an interesting night. And you asked the question of Chauncey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some stuff we're seeing out there, Coach. Do you call him Coach or call him Chauncey?
I mix it up.
You mix it up.
It's Coach.
You like to keep him
Coach,
on his toes.
Chauncey,
Sure.
CB.
No Chaunce?
No, I haven't dropped Chaunce.
Okay, well.
That's by choice, folks.
Someday. DC had a very interesting night. Mm-hmm. And you just brought up the notion that he's doing a lot of things that don't show up in the box score. I think that's a really good way to put it. I feel like a father screaming at my son, because I do
dunk the ball.
I said it 4 times. I think I scared poor Deb Knapp for screaming a couple times.
I'm almost certain every single person in press row at some point tonight just went, dude.
There was one where he was at the basket
and he pulled it down,
and he turned around.
Yeah. It's just, I think he's adjusting to the size of the NBA.
Of course,
because you're talking about
a rookie, so I even feel bad bringing this up, but it's part of it.
But it's the leave you wanting stuff, right? And there's 2 things with Donovan that leave me wanting. Number 1, when he gets his hand on the ball and doesn't secure a rebound. Number 2 is when he grabs the ball at the rim and pulls it down 5 feet. Brother,
keep it high, big man.
This is the only team in the NBA that has a player on their roster bigger than you. Put ball in hoop. You big man. Put ball in hoop. But beyond that, no, to your point, the question that I asked Chauncey is the little things it's the dark arts of being an NBA big man. If you ever get the chance to sit courtside in an NBA game, you'll be, number 1, if you've never seen NBA players in person, you'll go, oh my God, even the little people are enormous. It's true. They're very big. Joe met Donovan for the first time the other day, and you went...
He swallowed my hand with his... I thought my hand was never going to come out of his palm.
He's just a massive human. But one of the things you'll notice, besides the talking that happens on the court, which we can't mention here, is how... Like, everybody who calls basketball, the NBA, soft, you will have a very different opinion after sitting courtside. It is physical. And bigs beat the bejesus out of each other. It's elbows, it's into the gut, it's stepping on toes on purpose, it's clawing, it's scratching, it's grabbing somebody and pulling them down. Like, it is a physical.
They're the linemen of the NBA.
Oh yeah, and they don't get credit. And that was one of the things I was asking Chauncey about tonight, was with the highway screens. And for those that are not familiar, if you remember the Blazers during the Robin Lopez era, Robin didn't score, but you know what he did? He would completely grab somebody and seal them off and almost do a box out. And that box out wasn't him waiting for a rebound. It was, excuse me, my point guard is trying to get to the rim here. Can you please hold still? Steven Adams is the best player in the NBA at that. I had Donovan on the podcast, was it 2 weeks ago, and one of the questions that I asked him,
subscribe.
There you go. But I asked him, is there anybody in the NBA that surprised you, talent-wise, skill-wise, whatever? And he kind of dropped his head and kind of nodded. And Steven Adams, he's really strong. And I was like, yeah, pound for pound, he's probably the strongest guy in the league. But Adams does this stuff, like, even though his rebound volume is never that high, the team's rebound rate when he is on the floor, like Russell Westbrook in his triple-double seasons at Oklahoma City, it was because Steven Adams was boxing out 2 and 3 people at a time, and Russ was able to, like, oh, thanks, mine. But Donovan did that tonight, and Chauncey Billups highlighted it specifically. And the reason I brought it up was because of this play. Donovan worked from the right-hand side to the left-hand side like he was repositioning for what was kind of projecting a shot coming from the right-hand side, because most likely shots from the right-hand side are going to bounce to the left-hand side off the rim. That's just kind of the math of it all, right?
Geometry.
But beyond that, what he was actually doing was setting up that highway screen and sealing for Deni because Deni wants to get to his right hand. And when Deni gets to his right hand down,
about now.
Yeah. And he got there and just lays it right up, and I immediately went, Donovan's getting better at that. Like you could see.
It was cozy. It looked like a veteran move.
He
like
just
it didn't look like a rookie doing that.
Yeah.
Because a rookie does it really demonstratively and calls attention to it and either gets whistled for the foul
this
or
is
it doesn't
slide
work
the butt
out.
across the lane and, oh, don't mind me over here. Oh, there you go. Thank you, sir. Layup for you.
That's exactly it. And I think also of note, 26 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 34 minutes, 32 minutes.
Joe, what
Those
have
are
I
Donovan's last 5 games.
What have I not mentioned about Donovan over the past 2 weeks?
Conditioning. It's getting there.
He's finally getting in shape. And you can see it physically. Like this is the fat guy calling, the kettle pot kind of a deal. But Donovan, after he hurt his MCL, put on a few pounds.
Sure.
You can't move, and it happens.
The holidays,
and rookie diet, look, it happens.
Pizza.
But he's slimmed down, and you can see it, and you can tell how he's moving. He's moving much more confidently, more efficiently, just better in general. He got through the rookie wall. He shed some pounds. He just looks better. And there's still some times where you see him, but he's 7'3", 290
But there was a play in particular, Dan, where the play was behind him. And he ran down the court and sprinted and in stride collected a defensive rebound. And that was a play that really stood out to me because it was late into one of his shifts. It's not like he just got on the floor and he was still busting his tail down the floor to collect a defensive rebound instead of maybe cheating on the offensive end to kind of catch his wind. And if he's making those sorts of plays, I think it's a really good indicator of where his conditioning is. How do we get refs to stop whistling at him for screens that are 50-50?
He's got to earn it. I tell you what.
Time, right?
That's the thing is he's had probably 6 to 8 bone curling screams, not crushing, curling, because it's just you can see people fold up and their bones curl as they realize, oh, I can't go through this.
Too big,
too large a man, and he enjoys it. When he crushed Luke Kennard tonight and got called for the foul, it was a 50-50. He's got to be better about the lean. So, again, Steven Adams is the best screener in the NBA, has been for a very long time. He leans, but it's more tree blowing in the wind as opposed to windstorm pushing the tree over. You can get a little bit of lean, just a little outside the frame.
You can't turn the body. The whole thing has to sort of move.
It's a little sway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tree in the wind. You can't do the foot slide.
Someone gift that, by the way. Just trees in the wind.
There you go.
Blowing here.
But he's never going to get away with Draymond Green screens. Where, for those that are unaware, Draymond Green sets more moving screens than anybody in the NBA. He grabs, because he's smaller, it's less demonstrative. He's 6'6" as opposed to 7 foot. But Draymond gets his elbow and his hip. And Kevon Looney, to an extent, also phenomenal screener. Loondog got a little bit more junk in the trunk than Donovan. He makes you work around the orbit, as it were.
Sure.
Donovan's got to learn to use that, even though he's a little lighter in the waist than some guys. He's still massive.
Well, isn't that part of the problem, though, Dan?
It's the dark arts.
When you flatten somebody, the ref is going to have more of a proclivity for blowing the whistle rather than them just kind of being annoyed by it.
If you flatten more people are just go, oh, no, he's just...
That's just what he does.
That's what Steven Adams did. His rookie year, he was out there with, putting ears on a string kind of a deal for every head that he took off. It was just brutal. And then everybody's just like, oh, no, he's just that big and that strong and that unmovable.
So, Danny, the game's over.
It is.
Right? Blazers won. But the night is just getting started. That's right. We need to talk about keeping those good vibes going with our friends over at Best Day Brewing. Why, it's the fastest growing non-alcoholic craft beer brand. It's the ultimate post-game play. We get to enjoy a great beer without worrying about tomorrow because, let's face it, celebrating tonight's win doesn't need alcohol. Fans, make every day your best day. Over at bestdaybrewing.com. Let's go to the Blazer Box once again for TrendBA. Do you know baseball season started?
Yeah.
They're playing Major League Baseball over in Tokyo.
I talk on the radio for a living, Joe. I talk all kinds of sports.
Okay, play along. That's Rodney Pete.
Do you know what sport he played?
He played American football.
Yes,
he was
indeed.
a quarterback, and here he is at the Tokyo Dome, pulling a Steve Bartman on Max Muncy, just ripping it away from him.
The nonchalantness, and then the tucking it behind his back. Look at that.
And what's great about it is, what are you going to do? I threw for 30,000 yards in the NFL. Like, I don't really care.
I think Rodney Pete just looked at Max Muncy and said, be bigger.
Do better?
No, I was like, look at him. He just mean mugs him.
It's so smooth. Oh, that's so good.
I mean, Rodney Pete's probably looking at that like, I just got a ball from a baseball game where the cheapest ticket to get in the building was $3,500. For those that don't know.
Is that right?
Oh, the two-game series that was being played in Japan, featuring, Shohei Ohtani, they're the maybe biggest star ever in anything.
Probably.
The whole city of Tokyo shuts down when he goes up to bat or when he's pitching. It's absolutely insane. But it was more expensive to get into that game, just to get in the building, than it was to get in the Super Bowl.
Woof.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Tokyo Dome in the fall.
Less than 1% of tickets were available on the resale market.
I'll say this, folks. There's lots of baseball in Japan, and
it's
if you're over
crazy
there,
fun.
Yeah, do it. I'm doing it this fall. We're going to a couple games. It should be great. Just to put a button on this, Holly Robinson Pete of Hanging with Mr. Cooper fame. Yes, the wife of Rodney Pete. She tweeted out, hey, people are giving Rodney a hard time because
he's with the home team.
Because they're saying he brought a glove. And she said, everybody got a hat and a glove that went into the stadium. Now, look, I love Hang with Mr. Cooper as much as the next millennial. Respect to Holly Robinson Pete. I don't buy that story for a second. Everyone's getting a glove when you walk into the stadium?
Either way, if he brought a glove, what a G.
Really?
God, yes.
Bringing a glove to a game
Heck yes. That's a man who does not care.
You're absolutely right. If he brought a glove to a game, he does not care.
And I tell you, by the way Rodney Pete got that ball.
That's a wild move for an adult man to make.
For the way Rodney Pete got that ball, he does not care.
He clearly doesn't. Rodney Pete's winning. He's
he looked off Max
He's married to
Muncy.
Holly Robinson. And
threw for 30,000 yards. Yeah, I think he's doing just fine.
Very good career. Good job, Rodney Pete. Good job, baseball.
Baseball been very, very good to him.
I think we need to talk about Scoot for a minute. My dad always said that. Scoot. The shooting wasn't there again tonight. I don't want to bemoan the fact too much, but I think it is important to do Scoot reports on the good and the not so good. And tonight, it was not so good. He did have 5 dimes, but again, 1 of 7 from 3. The shot just feels off right now.
It isn't. You go through these cold spells. There of his 7 threes tonight, I was just kind of hand charting on my notes of like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad kind of a deal of like shots that he takes. And I've been doing it with Scoot and Shaden recently because there's pretty much a straight line you can draw with them making shots and them taking good shots. And Shaden has a proclivity to go, ooh, bad shot. And he wants to take some shots that you take when you're a 10-time NBA All-Star. It's like, look, brother, you might have that in your bag someday, but we got to get you're shooting 31% from 3 this season. We need to get the straight up and down threes.
Let's make it easier on ourselves.
And he took, Shaden tonight went 3 of 8, which you'll take that every night. But he took 2 or 3 where I went,
At the start of the game, I could feel you folding your arms
Oh,
at
when
the
he
Moda Center
settled?
from my living room, just like, that's not a good look.
He took it. I literally went like this, like a grumpy old man.
Right. Just
What's he doing?
an angry scout.
What's he doing?
Just mad in the stands.
But he had one later where it was, I want to say it was a give and give back from 2. And when he relocated, he did all of the things. He relocates, gets his feet set, knees bent, hands ready, hits him in the hands, wet. And you're just like, yeah, that's the one, buddy. Look, you're not going to get all those all the time, and he needs to work on the off the dribble stuff too. But let's get a little lather going. Let's get a couple good looks. Let's see the ball go through the rim first. I think Scoot needs to do that first in the same manner as well. He's a guy that if he gets his feet set, I trust that he's going to take a good 3. But every time I see him come off the bench and the first shot is like the first touch 3,
Yes,
I'm like,
dude. Well, it's almost like, to use a football analogy, he's trying to use the pass to set up the run.
Yeah.
And I'd rather him just get to the basket, some fouls, do the Deni thing.
or just put the ball down on the floor and attack once and kick it out and like, just kind of work yourself
Get into the game.
stuff.
It's not just ice cold 3 from the top of the key.
Look,
That feels like his mode
when
right now.
when you're Dame, when you're Steph, when you those guys, you can do that. You've got the muscle memory. Everything's good. It don't matter how cold, how hot you are. You could be 0 for 10 on the night. The next one's going in for you.
No question.
Scoot and Shea aren't at that level yet. I mean, Ant had a god-awful night from the floor tonight. 8 of 24, 2 of 9 from 3. But the threes he took tonight, you're like, yeah, that's a good look. Yeah, that's a good look. And it just kept bricking. But you're like, same with Duop. Like, Duop tonight, he just took good 3 after good 3 after good. You remember Wap had, what was he, 1 of 10 in back-to-back games?
Yes.
It was brutal.
Really
he didn't
tough
take a
stretch.
single bad 3. Shooting slumps happen. You go up and down in the NBA. That's the name of the game. But if you're controlling for taking good shots, you live with it.
We're going to give Duop a little more love. We kind of touched him at the start.
Phenomenal.
He's been great, and you can look at the offense, and 13 points, 6 offensive rebounds.
I don't even care about the offense. He's been so good defensively.
The block on Triple J that he did just straight up and down. I think Jaren Jackson was like confused by what happened. Like he looked sort of bewildered.
You're
and you
5
talked about
inches shorter than me. What are you doing up here?
Getting under his skin.
Oh,
and I
God.
think that was the catalyst that sort of started those wheels in motion of like, well, this guy can't do this to me. And then it wasn't maybe as dramatic, but it was getting his body in position.
Oh, he
being an irritant.
He
the
got
entire
away
night.
with. Wap and Jaren got away with some pretty egregious stuff on each other tonight. It was some hacksaw Jim Duggan to wind up the 2x4, break it over his back. Oh, you weren't watching that? Let me do it again. It was pretty bad down there. To the refs' credit, there weren't a lot of fouls called. I think there was 9 or 10 called in the first half, but I think that went to like 20-something in the second half. But Wap, was it 2 or 3 games ago? It was his first game on the homestand. Was that Detroit? I think it was Detroit.
Yes.
And in that game, he met, I think it was Isaiah Stewart at the top of the box. I've never seen Duop get up that high in my life. The next game, before the game, I was in the locker room talking to him, and I was like, hey, man, have you ever jumped that high? And he laughed. He was like, no, but I appreciate you noticed.
Thank you, young Marang.
Yeah, and he was just like, and I was like, man, that was a pretty good block. He just like, he gave me the, I know.
Yeah, he's been really crucial for Portland, especially with Bari out the last couple of games.
Yeah,
obviously.
but real quick, Bari's
update.
doing better. So I thought
good.
he was in the arena tonight. I didn't notice if he was down on the sideline or not. But the fact that he's in the arena post-concussion, typically the bright lights, they don't want him around. He's getting better. Spirits are high. You can still tell in talking to him, he's a little muted.
Sure.
Like don't get me wrong, it's not like completely.
But it's not
there,
the same personality you're accustomed
he's
to.
a little chiller right now, but he's been there last 2 games, and he's been feeling a lot better.
Well, I hope he is cleared for Friday because they will need all hands on deck for the Nuggets of Denver. This is a big, again,
Let's see
they're
if
big
Jokic
from
and Murray
here on
go.
out.
They've been sitting the last 2 games. They've needed rest because, they lean on him, those 2 guys. And they don't, your option if you're not Jamal Murray is Russell Westbrook. And more Russell Westbrook is never the answer.
It is for Portland. I think for the last 3 games of the homestand, Denver, Boston, Cleveland, as wild as this sounds, considering Cleveland and Boston are the top 2 teams in the East, this is the game I feel the worst about.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. They're fighting for seeding. Neither of those teams, Cleveland or Boston, that's set.
They
the 1 seed's wrapped
nothing
up.
to
The
play
2 seeds
for.
wrapped up. Those 2 teams, I could very much. Look, we saw them rest before. However, Cleveland has now lost 3 straight after winning 14 in a row. They might want to go out
Let's
there.
right the ship a
let's
little
right
bit.
the ship. Let's look, could you see Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell or Jared Allen? Could you see somebody sit like they did when Portland came through with Donovan Mitchell sat? Sure. But I would expect both those teams to probably rest some guys. And again, I think it's dumb, but you're right. The Denver game is the one because they need it. We spent 5 minutes talking about seeding and how close things are. And if you can get the 2 seed and get home court throughout until the Western Conference Finals, that's what you want.
Well, and also I just think from a matchup perspective, this has been a tough matchup for Portland this season.
I mean, Jamal Murray had a career high, 55? So, yeah, it's a tough matchup.
It's an issue. And look, anytime Joker is doing the Joker thing, like if you can, I think it's going to take maybe not the performance that Deni had tonight, but I think you're going to need those types of performances to beat a Denver, to beat a Boston, to beat a Cleveland. Because, yes, Portland played great tonight. That first half, that's not sustainable.
No,
Deni doing what he did tonight, I'm not going to say it's not sustainable because he's done it over a 5-game stretch now.
He's over the last, again, 10 games, 22, 10, and 5 on 50, 48, 83 splits.
It's going to come from the defensive side.
So,
I know it sounds like a cliche, but
they held them to 99. Like,
the 6th highest scoring team in the NBA,
again,
under 100
without
points.
Ja on the road, but still.
That's still, I mean,
it's
a caveat or two, but.
It's not a feather in the cap, but maybe it's a golf tee.
Oh, sure. Maybe like a nice little pin that you get from the pro shop there?
There you go. Yeah,
okay.
We'll go with that.
Well, hey, thank you so much for watching this program. We've had a fun time. We hope you did too. Tyree is back on Friday. I assure you he will be sitting here.
Lying.
I'm not.
No, he's not.
Blazers win. They've won 3 straight. Are they going to make the play-in? Marang says maybe.
Sure.
We're wearing them down, folks. We love you all so much.
Bye.